All right, how's everyone doing? Gonna give it a few minutes as people come in. Take care of a couple of things. All right. Good driver. Welcome, everyone. I'm Brian Ponder, Brian the Credit Lawyer. And tonight we have an important topic to talk about. Let me set it up and put it up on the screen. I'm going to also include a link for those that want to join the conversation. We're going to talk about data breaches, identity fraud. So welcome, Tony V. So I have a lot of my credit mastery students tonight. We're going to do this first half here. Let you all get a sample of some of our credit mastery topics, and then we're going to break off into a private Zoom. But If there's anyone that wants to join the conversation, the link is there. I will bring you on. And let me post a topic here. Let's see, here we go. Y'all know I'm pretty new to the YouTube space, so bear with me. All right. Go. All right, so tonight we're going to talk about your information compromise data breach lesson. So again, I'm Brian, a credit lawyer. So what I deal with on a daily basis is a lot of consumer credit issues, debt collection issues, and foreclosure defense. Part of my practice dealing with consumer law includes issues involving identity theft. And identity theft is very, very, very prevalent. And I tell people, you're likely a victim of identity theft, you just don't know it yet. And more likely than that, you're a victim of a data breach. A data breach is when a company that has your personal financial information or just personal information, such as your date of birth, social security number, passwords, email passwords, etc. A data breach is when that company holding that information is compromised by someone entering into their system to access that information. And a lot of times that information is within their computer systems and things like that, and it's not properly protected. So once it gets out there, the breach usually leads to identity theft. So a lot of identity theft happens by way of someone breaching some system to be able to get into a computer to retrieve your information. And these companies that have your information are supposed to secure it. You've entrusted them with information, and they have a duty to secure information. This is the time of year I like to talk about it because usually around the holidays, which we're coming up on very fast, next month will be Thanksgiving, and then quickly will be Christmas. Around this holiday season, identity theft really starts to get, you see an uptick. And I know unfortunately, about every year, I usually see some identity theft. It just never fails, unfortunately. So I like to tell people, if you have not had your identity stolen, you probably just haven't known it yet. And like I said, most of the times you can be a victim but not yet know it. So data breach and identity theft usually leads to money being taken from you by way of credit cards, bank accounts, etc. However, sometimes it may not. It's almost like someone breaking into your home and not taking anything. They were looking and perhaps did not see what they wanted this time, and they could be waiting for an opportune time to try to get what they want. So tonight I want to talk about data breaches and what you can do about it. And at the same time, I want to discuss identity theft and what you can do about that. So um, if you have any questions, you're welcome to use the link that I provided to jump on, and we'll talk about it. If you're a victim of identity theft, if you think someone is using your information, or if you think someone or a company has had a data breach and what you should do next. So we're going to talk about it. But if you have questions, I want you to jump on. I like interacting with other people on this topic. So first of all, to even know if you had a data breach, it's very tough to even know. A lot of times your data is compromised, and the company that got compromised doesn't even tell you. So I think data breach situations occur almost every day. Um, However, the many companies that may have that breach, you don't hear about it. Now, the big data breaches you hear about because it makes the news, like Equifax 3 years ago had a huge data breach. I'm going to pull up some of the most significant data breaches. Let me pull one up here. Let's take a look at this. So here, it doesn't even seem like it was 2017, but in 2017, you had a data breach. And this one, these data breaches here, I'm pulling up because I want to talk about the money involved in trying to resolve these data breaches. But these are the biggest data breach fines and settlements worldwide as of last year, August of last year. And so in 2017, we had that Equifax data breach. Many of you may remember that. You see it settlements $575 million. And then 2018, we had a British Airways data breach, $230 million. And did y'all know about this 2016 data breach with Uber? $148 million of settlements. Marriott International, that was 2018 data breach. Yahoo had a data breach. And so Yahoo, many of you, of course, use that for email. You have passwords there. A lot of personal information in there. Capital One, 2019 data breach, $80 million in settlements there. Tesco Bank, 2016, 21 million. Target, 2013, Anthem, 2015 breach, 16 million. 1&1 Telecom, 2018, Google, in 2018, University of Texas, Fresenius Medical Care, North America, Cottage Health, Touchstone, University of Rochester, Jackson Health System, Equifax, another one, Facebook, DSG Retail, Cathay Pacific, 2014 through 2018. So those are just some of those breaches. See some information here regarding that big $575 million for the Consumer Reporting Agency, Equifax. Now, that's a big one. Equifax, as you know, is a consumer reporting agency that has all of your personal information there. So these are just what I'm showing you there. Those were just some of the larger settlements from the data breaches. I'm going to show you another page, talks a little bit more about some of those breaches. I'll add that. We talked about the Equifax one. And it says here, following that 2017 breach, they agreed to pay up to $700 million to the FTC, $175 million to the states, $100 million to the CFPB. They had a $300 million restitution fund for harmed consumers like you. Like many of you were harmed by that. Many of you probably did not file a claim. but a lot of you are victims of that breach because almost everyone who's an adult has an Equifax consumer file. Uber, as you know, Uber is the ride app. They reached $148 million settlement with 50 states for failing to disclose. Target, 18.5 million to the states. And again, it's saying to the states, I don't know, but here's the thing I want to talk about tonight. A lot of that money may not come down to you. A lot of that money may be fines. A lot of that money will go to attorneys. And so what I really want you to do tonight is to see how much money is being transferred. However, you're not really seeing a lot of that. I want to talk to you about how you can realize some of this money for yourself. And to get that, you're going to need to be equipped with the proper paperwork to go after these companies. And first, you have to find these companies and see where exactly these data breaches occurred. So that's what you don't hear much about. You see on the news, all the breaches. They're like, well, shoot, I have an account with them. How do I take advantage? How do I get paid? Or what do I do? So, so we're going to talk about that. Premier, Blue Cross, they agreed to pay $10 million to 30 U.S. states for failing to secure consumer data. Again, I'm noticing, this money is being paid to the state, so it's a little interesting. But Nationwide Mutual, the insurance company, they had to pay $5.5 million to 33 states for the data breach. Ashley Madison, which is, it says it's an adultery, interesting adultery website, we paid $1.6 million to settle FTC and state charges. So again, when you look at that, it appears that the states and things get the benefit of these fines, and it makes you wonder, how in the world can you get some of that money? Well, first of all, you're going to have some monitoring to be able to catch these data breaches. And in my own experience, what I've discovered is that there's a few companies out there. I'm sure there are a lot, but there are a few that I'm aware of that can help you understand where the data breaches are happening that affect you. And so the first company, which is a very popular place for people, is called Credit Karma. So I'm gonna put a link to Credit Karma right here in the comment section. But Credit Karma, Credit Karma is a website that allows you to have free access to your consumer reports. Now, a lot of people really rely hard on Credit Karma, but I want to let you know that Credit Karma only shows you TransUnion and Equifax. Now, there are 3 major consumer reporting agencies. One of them is Experian, who is not represented on the Credit Karma platform. So what that means for you is you can't rely on Credit Karma to give you a full scope or view of your credit situation for a couple reasons. One, it doesn't give you all 3 major consumer reporting agency information that's out there. So there are 3 consumer reporting agencies: Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion. And remember, Credit Karma only shows you TransUnion and Equifax. And some people don't even see the Equifax come up. So keep that in mind. However, I want you to be able to know that Credit Karma does have a purpose. First of all, it's free. It's going to give you some of your credit information. It's going to show you TransUnion and Equifax. The second reason I don't want you to fully rely on Credit Karma to understand your credit situation is because you're going to see a score, and the score they give you is not your actual credit score that you're going to use, to buy a home or to buy a car. It's really a Vantage score, which is Vantage means that's the scoring system that's used. That scoring system is not the same one that you're going to use to get a mortgage. It's not the same one you're going to use necessarily to get a credit card or anything like that. So just want you to be aware that the score you see on Credit Karma is not the same credit score that you may need to get, certain, loan products, mortgages, and things like that. But Credit Karma will, once you're registered with them, they will give you a breakdown of data breaches that affect you. And that's very important because, the thing with these data breaches is trying to figure out what breach took place that may affect you. So Credit Karma is an excellent place to start with respect to that. So this is the link to it. You'll see it in the comment section. So what you can do is sign up for a Credit Karma account, and you'll be able to go in there and it will give you information regarding data breaches. It'll actually list. Now, there's sometimes occasions where it may show you a breach and may not be able to identify the company, but for the most part, they will be able to provide you the information you need to identify the company that the data breach took place. So that's very important. I'm going to give you another link. Let's see, hold on there. As soon as I find it. So the next link, and let me find this link for you. Again, if you have any questions, be sure you can type in the comment section, or you can use the link, and I'll bring you on, and we can discuss your question. Let me find the second link I want to give you. Here we go. Okay, so the second link I want to give you is MyFICO. This is a sponsored link. Sponsored link means I signed up for them and I'm able to share it as an affiliate. But MyFICO, this link here, you can use this to get what's called a MyFICO account. This is probably, to me, I think the best credit monitoring to have for a couple of reasons. It will give you your actual FICO score. The reason they can do that is because the company that's behind this link is the FICO Fair Isaac Corporation, and that's who comes up with the algorithm and creates your credit score. So if you're looking to really understand your credit score, this is a great app, and you should get the Premier product because it gives you all 3 scores and 3 reports on a monthly basis, and it gives you real-time monitoring. And this is what I mean by real-time monitoring. A lot of times people, when they're working on their credit, they see their score go down, they see their score go up, they see the score, remain the same. And the biggest question I get is, why did my score go down? Or why did my score go up? Well, with the MyFICO, it tells you At the moment, if the wind blows and your score goes up or down, it tells you how many points it went up or down and why. Very important information. How you doing, Tony? So is LifeLock overrated? Are they effective, or can you comment? Yeah. So yeah, that's a good question because, and getting back to my FICO will tell you everything about your score. It will tell you everything about the changes that happen day to day, hour to hour, and it will pinpoint why. And that's very important because you learn a lot on how your credit is affected by certain things by understanding what makes your score go up or down. For example, if you get a PO box and it pops up on your credit, you may notice your score goes down. It'll tell you because you have a new address. And that's how I learned that new addresses affect your credit. And more so, old addresses you should delete because it can lower your score the more addresses you have. And Tony Truitt has a good question I'm going to bring up. But again, the second link is my FICO link. There's a link there in the comments. But Tony asks, is LifeLock overrated? Are they effective, or can you comment? So LifeLock, see if I can pull their website up. But LifeLock is a company that provides ID theft protection, and I think maybe some other things as well. I will bring them up. Let's add that to the screen. So this is LifeLock. And so it talks about identity theft, how it works, advice and pricing. So LifeLock, let's just pull it up. Trying to see what they're offering, their service. Let's see. So it looks like they offer identity theft protection. I'm trying to see how they describe the service they provide. You see them talking about data breaches. It appears that Norton, which is a malware virus protection company, perhaps they own LifeLock now, according to the logo, it appears. All right. So here's what they do. They detect and alert you regarding threats. They will help restore, and they provide reimbursement, $25,000 to $1 million to replace stolen funds, depending on the level of your plan. And then let's look at the plans. There's a different types of plans, up to 25,000, up to 100,000, up to $1 million. And so it looks like this first plan, $99 for the year. Middle plan, $191 for the year, and $300 for the year for the $1 million plan. So Tony's asking, is this a good plan to have? Well, first of all, I think that identity theft protection plans are a good idea because here's the thing. If you are affected by identity theft and, for example, your bank account is compromised or you lose a lot of money and it's very damaging, insurance is always a great thing because otherwise you will have to foot the bill to address these issues. And whatever you can insure against your risk of loss, in this case, money, it's an excellent idea. So we'll bring you in, Edwin. So Tony, I think, the difference between the companies, I think you want to go through the website and understand what you're buying. If you can get a copy of the terms of their policy before you buy, that's great. Sometimes you may have to buy to get that, and you can sort of go over it. You always want to look at the coverage, the exclusions, and if it's not up to your standard, you can always, cancel. But I think that identity theft protection is a very, very good idea. Some of the steps that I will teach and provide as far as templates uh, will not be covered by identity theft protection. The protection usually is to help you recover and to defend against loss. I'm going to talk more about some offensive things you can do to try to recover money, just for your own inconvenience, and the money you may have to spend to protect yourself. So, for example, Tony, if you go to Credit Karma and see that you've been affected by a breach and end up buying this identity theft protection, you're buying it because of what you saw happen to you and trying to protect yourself. And so it's a good segue because you're going to have to show that you're damaged, and you're damaged by having to buy this LifeLock to try to deal with or try to identify the extent of the damage that's been done against you. So that's a good question, and I do recommend that people consider getting identity theft protection like LifeLock. Edwin, are you there? All right, let's see here. Edwin, are you there? Looks like we lost. Looks like we lost Edwin. Edwin, we'll bring you back when you're ready. Edwin had a comment. You can add a statement that does the same thing. So, all right. So, yeah, Edwin. So, adding a statement, if you have identity theft and you have a fraudulent account on your credit report, adding a statement is going to alert, creditors that something is a result of identity theft, but it's not going to fix the situation. So I don't recommend that as a solution, but that's something you could do to temporarily alert creditors that something is something's going on that's related to your credit. How you doing, Edwin?
All right, good, and you?
All right, welcome.
Yes, sir. I'm glad to be here.
All right. Did you want to comment on this yet?
Yeah. Well, I had heard and read that you could add a statement on your credit profile that says don't allow no credit or nothing to you call me, get them your phone number, and then this is similar to a LifeLock. They said the owner of LifeLock, he got his stuff compromised about 11, 12 times.
Right. Okay, so that's the kind of comment you were mentioning. Okay, I thought you were mentioning adding a comment just to these fraudulent accounts. So
no,
what you're talking about is like a security type feature where, that's right, Edwin, you can contact the consumer reporting agencies,
correct,
and inform them that you don't want them to release your information. So what happens is, say if someone steals your identity and they try to open up a credit account, they can't do it unless the creditor gives you a call.
Correct.
To release that account. And so that is something you can do. That is something that doesn't cost you a thing to do that.
It's free.
It's free to do that. So that's something you can do to be proactive in protecting your credit file, because identity thieves, they'll apply for credit in your name.
Yes.
But you can stop that if you you call the consumer reporting agencies or write them and let them know not to ever release your report unless you call first. So that is right.
Yes, sir.
And that'll provide your number. So I appreciate that. That is right.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate you adding that. Thank you. So yeah, so that is some good advice. Let's see, Tony. The one thing I was concerned about was protection against home title fraud. LifeLock says they protect against that, but I can't understand how. So I believe title insurance will protect you with that, Tony. So you know, so I would, if that's a concern, I will. If I were you, I would contact your title insurance company and read your title insurance agreement to see if the title fraud is covered. I think it's covered, but again, just to be safe, I can't speak on what I don't know and what your policy says, but title insurance may cover that. Title insurance basically is to, guarantee title that goes back, but I don't know for sure if it covers fraud going forward. So I'm gonna revisit that, Tony, because that's a good point. Because I don't necessarily know for sure if it would cover fraud, because that fraud is something that happened after closing, whereas title insurance I know covers, guarantees your title protected up until closing. So if let me know, Tony, what you find out, because if LifeLock does cover that, that's excellent. And that is a form of identity theft. So if they do cover that, that's actually an excellent feature, because you do have a lot of scammers that will forge deeds now. I mean, the identity fraud game now, it's so complex. They could take your house, sell it, and yeah, you're right. That may not be something that's already covered under your title insurance. My guess is that it is, and I'm likely maybe wrong. So I think that's something to definitely explore. Um, that's a good question. You can lock and unlock with the credit with each reporting agency. There's a fee associated with that service. Well, um, what I described, there's not a fee for that. And for example, if you sign up for a free account with the Consumer Reporting Agency, you may be able to go in there and lock it that way. But a lot of the things that you can do for free are also included in some of the paid things that these reporting agencies are getting you to pay for. My, my, my rule of thumb is you should not really be paying the consumer reporting agencies, because they're not paying you. They're making billions. Like, for example, Experian makes over $3 billion a year off of your information, and they're not cutting you a check. So you should not be cutting them a check to try to protect and lock up your information. Okay. So if you all have any accounts with any of the consumer reporting agencies, I suggest that you convert that to a free account, because you should not be paying them money for anything. And here's the thing: the information they're showing you about your own credit and even other reporting agencies or disclosures, they're not real credit reports. So yeah, definitely don't pay them. You can write them and tell them to lock your credit report and to not share it unless you're called, and give them your phone number, your cell phone number, and that doesn't cost you a thing. Anyone can walk into the recording office and pay a fee and get a copy of your home title. Yes, your deed is public record. So getting a copy of your home title or your deed in and of itself is not really anything. So the fraud can occur is when I pretend, for example, I'm Tony Truitt selling the property you own. So that's where the fraud occurs. So obviously they would need to, get a fake ID, and they can go to a closing table. I don't want to give anyone any ideas, but that's where the fraud occurs. But yeah, your home deed and things like that, that's all public record. Your title to your home, which is called a deed, usually a warranty deed, or quit claim deed. Yeah, that's all public record. So, property is deeded in personal names, company names, etc. But yeah, that's all public record. But yeah, Tony. So if that life lock covers that, that's actually excellent, because yeah, there's fraud that happens. But again, you always want to check to see if title insurance covers that. And if it doesn't, yeah, that's certainly something people should add to their insurance portfolio of protection against those kind of things. And Tony V says that TransUnion is free. But again, I think it's important to realize that all the consumer reporting agencies, you're going to have the opportunity to do this. How you doing, Edward?
Sure.
Mm-hmm. You back with us?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'm back on both from YouTube and StreamYard. I'm doing both of them.
Oh, okay. Did you want to add another comment?
No. I'm fine. I'm just listening.
Okay, excellent. All right. So great questions. Anyone else have any question? I will include the link again for you to jump on with your question. And you have some good questions so far. Let's see. I'm going to put the link in here. All right, great. So again, Credit Karma will tell you about data breaches affecting you. MyFICO will give you information regarding the dark web, and also it may provide you with some data breach information, very important. And Tony's saying, right, TransUnion free, Experian, that's charged for your lock consumer report. So again, and I'm glad y'all are asking this. Actually, that's again a myth. This charge, you don't have to pay to freeze your credit report. You can write a letter and say, freeze my report. Okay, thank you, Tony V. Thank you, Tony V. And again, if the information is valuable, Super Chat, Cash App, Venmo, I appreciate it. Keep this platform going. I want to do more of these. So if you want to support the platform, please donate to the Super Chat, Cash App, PayPal, or Venmo. So Tony's saying TransUnion is free, Experian, Equifax, charging people lock your credit. So I'm sure what you're saying, Tony, is true, but again, it can be free. They'll take your money for it, but again, you can freeze any of your consumer reporting agency files for free. All you have to do is write them and say, freeze my file. Okay. You can also give them instruction to not share your file unless you're called first, where creditors have to call first to make sure it's you before your credit file is accessed. And that again is free. But again, these reporting agencies will, within their own services, have you paying them for stuff that you can get completely free. So that's the whole point tonight. I want you to understand your options, but you should not be paying these reporting agencies that are making billions of dollars off of you to do something that they can do for free. And the law does provide they have to freeze your report if you say so. It should not be a fee. You can actually get a copy of your consumer file at no charge. It does not have to be a fee. But of course, they will have a service for you where you can pay for these things as well. So I recommend that you not pay the consumer reporting agencies for anything, because they're not paying you to use your information. So very good point. Let's see what else I wanted to share with you. I'm going to share with you another data breach. This data breach. Look at this. What if you're concerned about a T-Mobile data breach? Look, this article is from last month. August. I'm sorry, August. T-Mobile. According to T-Mobile, criminals acquired the personal data of 50 million customers. 50 million customers. Okay. So it says the breach indicates that the stolen files contain account information from approximately 850 million prepaid customers and 7.8 million regular monthly customers, as well as 40 million records related to former or prospective customers. Okay, that's a lot of people. For the prepaid customers, the breach exposed names, phone numbers, account pins. Okay. The stolen data on other T-Mobile customers include their first and last name, dates of birth, social security number, and driver's license and ID information. That's significant. I mean, that's all the information you need to do just about anything in your financial life. So, so if you're a T-Mobile customer, and then it said even prospective customers, I believe, up here. So, that's very concerning. So that's a huge data breach. Have y'all heard about that? Okay. And if you're doing Zelle, thanks. So if you're doing Zelle, the last 4 digits, I'll put 9597. Okay. I don't know, but yeah, I don't know. I think that's what you need for the phone number. But yeah, so T-Mobile, that's a huge breach. Huge breach. And once you figure out you're affected by these breaches, so if you have a T-Mobile account, you're most likely affected. And when you're most likely affected, you're probably going to have to take some steps to figure out. You're going to have to write them. I recommend you spend some money on postage and send a regular letter, and versus just an email or phone call. The reason is, at the end of the day, if you end up pursuing these companies for monetary damages, you're going to have to show some monetary damage or skin in the game yourself. And so a lot of lawsuits these days are being knocked down and dismissed because there are no damages that are proven. So damages are certainly evident when you spend money. There are also some non-economic type damages where you experience emotional distress and things like that. The courts, in some cases, are not respecting these damages, and people can't really properly document those types of damages because you're not going to see a psychiatrist or counselor or psychologist. And so, but you can certainly document that you had to spend money on postage to communicate regarding these risks and breaches. You can certainly calculate that you had to pay for a LifeLock or other identity theft protection service. You can certainly calculate that you had to subscribe to MyFICO and spend money to make sure your credit report isn't compromised. Because if you're part of this T-Mobile breach, they have everything. I mean, your name, date of birth, social security number, that's significant. So you're going to have to spend money in dealing with some of these things. You may even have to spend money on, legal fees. Like I'm offering you, everyone tonight, uh, you can take advantage of. I'm going to have the templates that you would need to contact these companies and actually to demand a monetary settlement for the damages, because these things, it's like you can't really lock back up your date of birth or your social security number. You can't change that. So once they have that key, once they have that information, you pretty much are going to have to be looking over your financial shoulder for the rest of your life. So I'm going to walk you through, first of all, I've walked you through how to access and be able to monitor. And Tony has showed you how to, their identity theft insurance products. And so you pretty much, once you're compromised and violated, it's almost a lifetime situation for you where you're going to have to really be, vigilant and looking out, for these things. And these can, there are dozens and dozens of consumer reporting agencies, and so just locking up those three, that's not going to totally protect you. And again, even that, I mean, what if I don't know, what if a thief writes in using that information and says, "Hey, I want to change the number." I mean, the list goes on and on. I don't want to give any criminals any ideas, but once you're compromised for life, because the information they have is like a key to your financial situation. In your home, if you're compromised, you can change the lock, you can reinforce things, but like I said, you can't really change your personal information. It's very tough. So once you're compromised, your damage is immediate and requires a lot of ongoing protection. So that can calculate up to thousands of dollars that you can project over the lifetime over your average lifetime that you're going to spend trying to deal with this information. So I'm going to walk you through that. I am going to offer everyone on here the opportunity to that's not in my credit mastery. First of all, you can join my credit mastery program. I am going to provide my credit mastery students with the templates necessary to deal with these data breaches. And by that, I mean information on how to obtain whether you're part of the breach, and more so demand letters demanding that companies compensate you for the breach. And like I said, if you're a part of a breach, just because you did not get your identity stolen now, you have a whole lifetime that you're going to be you with your date of birth and social security number for them to do that. So it's going to, you're at risk. You're compromised, and whether that compromise has led to a criminal event against you, who knows? So you're going to have to pay and prepare for that for the rest of your life. And so I want to give you all what you need to demand that they pay you for that. Okay, these companies are paying millions, and we saw tens of millions of dollars, even hundreds of millions, to settle these cases. However, you're not really seeing much of that, and I want to equip you with the information on how to get that done. So I'm doing a pre-sale, so you can jump into the course of this data breach dispute litigation, and it's only $43. So I'm really making it very affordable. I'm going to show you and walk you through how to obtain monetary settlements by sending demand letters to these companies. First, you have to identify where the breach took place that affects you. And once you do that, you'll be able to fill in these templates and send it to the companies and demand money. Okay, that's going to be calculated in different ways. Some of you may demand a few $100s, a few thousands, tens of thousands of dollars. It's going to be calculated in a few different ways depending on where you are in life and et cetera. But I'm going to walk you through how to do that. I'm going to walk you through, if the companies do not cut you a check, how you can file a lawsuit against them based on huge multi-million-dollar litigation that's already taken place, that's already, on causes of action that have stuck. And so I've been through some of the major cases out there and pulled out the allegations that have stuck so that you're not making outlandish allegations that courts have not enforced. So you're going to have that template. So this is a pre-sale. This information is not immediately available, but for those of you that take advantage of the pre-sale, you'll be the first to get the information in hand. So I'm going to provide you with that. This is the link for that. So if you want to jump into the pre-sale, that's the link. That we use there. Okay. That's the link there. Enroll in the pre-sale. $43. So that's going to be the actual regular price is going to be $97. So it's a great way to go ahead and save a good amount of money. Once it rolls out, it would be more expensive. So go ahead and jump in that. Everyone else, if you want to jump into my training, and actually we're going to do some training tonight. It includes live Q&A. This is how you join my Credit Mastery program. The Credit Mastery program, I have dozens of students that I instruct on how to use the consumer law to their advantage, to handle all credit issues, to eliminate debt, and to teach others how to do the same. So, but that's how you join my Credit Mastery training. This is recommended for anyone that wants some ongoing education and application on how to deal with these credit issues. We have another question. So Tony says, what about transferring your assets to a trust? So again, transferring your assets to a trust is always a good idea. Well, I'm going to say always. It's a very good idea for estate planning purposes, but it does not protect you from any of the issues that we're talking about. So again, earlier you spoke about title fraud, mainly people pretending to be someone. So when you transfer real estate into a trust, for example, say if you live at 123 Main Street and Tony Truitt, you own that. Right now you own Tony Truitt, so you transfer it to the 123 Main Street Land Trust, Tony Truitt as a trustee. Well, once again, all the person has to do is pretend they're the trustee, and they can transfer that land to whoever. So unfortunately, transferring it to a trust does not protect you against these types of identity theft and breaches. So that's not necessarily a solution. And Tony, you were asking about Zelle. I think oh, I'm sorry, that's Venmo. I'm sorry. Oh, okay, that's right. So Venmo, so Zelle, we have to go by email, right? My email is brian@brianpointer.com. But yeah, so maybe that will help, Tony. I appreciate it. So, okay, I think Tony's on Facebook. Okay. This is my email. But yeah, so yeah, the whole trust thing is good for estate planning because you can avoid a whole lot of, expenses and things when conveying property. in a trust because it's personal property and you don't have to go through probate and things like that. But as far as data breaches and identity theft purposes, it does not cure that uh, because people can steal your identity and pretend they're the trustee, and it causes the same problem. So insuring against that is really the best solution to mitigate those risks. Uh, in addition to that, again, once you identify that you've been affected, having protections in place to prevent uh, you from losing your credit information or people using your credit information, that's proactive. The insurance, if there is a catastrophic event or financial loss, insurance is great for that because it can take tens of thousands of dollars to correct these things when they go wrong. And so what I'm teaching you all now is to try to be proactive. Understand that if you're on here today, I can almost guarantee you that you are a victim of a data breach. And you may be a victim of identity theft. That's when identity theft is when someone wrongfully has your personal information that makes up your identity. Your identity, of course, is your name, but there's a lot of personal information behind your name. And when people get that information wrongfully, they're an identity thief. Now, whether you're a victim just by that thievery. Now, whether it's affected you financially is a whole different thing, but more likely than not, you are a victim of a data breach and identity theft because someone out there has your information, your personal identity information, whether they've used it yet in a way that will hurt you, only time will tell. And what I'm trying to get you to understand tonight is how the heck do you figure out what companies uh, lost your information out there or got your information, uh, taken from them. So that's the whole data breach, and that's the whole thing I'm going to speak about tonight. So if y'all have any questions, I want you to jump on with your questions. I'm going to post a link again on how you can enroll in the pre-sale of my data breach dispute um, course, which will give you the templates you need to deal with data breaches, to demand compensation for the breach. I'll provide you with some resources on where you can go and get, insurance, um, identity theft protection. We went over one tonight, but I'll, give you an assortment of resources on where you can get those types of plans. Give you some information on how you can mail letters from home. You don't have to go to the post office. And again, you're going to have to spend a little money in dealing with these things because you want to prove that you've been damaged, and you want to show that this damage, like we showed you earlier with the LifeLock, that can be up to $300 a year. How many years are you going to have that to be able to look over your shoulder to make sure you're not financially taken advantage of as an identity theft victim that's being exploited? Because once the breach happens, people have your information. Who knows what's going to happen to it? And you don't have to wait until something happens necessarily. Because if you do wait, what if it's beyond the statute of limitations? So I'm going to show you and walk you through that demand process. All right, so let's see. All right, very good. So let's see. All right, so I'm going to put the link back in. I'm going to have a short time for some Q&A, and then I'm going to break off. I'm going to get out of here, but I'm going to post the link in the chat. And if you have some questions, you can jump on in. I will entertain questions. . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . Uh, all right. So link in chat to join for some Q&A. So I will entertain some questions regarding a few areas of the topic for tonight, which is data breach, identity theft. But I will take a few questions related to general credit, debt, and foreclosure defense for a brief moment. And then I'm going to break off into my private Zoom with my credit master students where we'll be working on some things one-on-one. So if you jump on, be sure not to give any personal information, but I will entertain for a moment just a few questions for Q&A. I'll also continue to read any questions that pop up here. The link is in the chat. And here's another thing and this again, a lot of the stuff I speak about has happened to me. So what you what you want to also look for is bank accounts being opened in your name. I've seen this recently. So if you have online banking, you want to take a look and see if any new accounts populated up in your online banking. Again, this is something I've seen. This could be a precursor to a bank fraud event due to identity fraud. So take a look at that. If you see a new bank account open, call your bank, let them know that you did not open that account. You want to turn on notifications in your bank application to be notified of every transaction. I know a lot of people may not like the text and emails, but I recommend that you put on all notifications for anything that happens with your bank, whether it be a withdrawal, deposit, wire. You want notifications. For all of your credit cards, you want to log in to online access, and you want to select go to your notifications selection and select notifications for everything. There should be a notification for transactions. Don't just get notifications for big $100 plus transactions. Get notifications for all transactions, whether it's a penny or more, because identity thieves also know that a lot of people just don't monitor small transactions, and they can nickel and dime. I mean, if they take $25, from a million people, I mean, that adds up. So be sure you have a notifications set up for all of your credit cards, even your debit cards, your banking. And I don't recommend you use your debit card, first of all, but all transactions, you want to be notified. So set that up with your credit cards, with your bank. Select to get text notification. Select also to get email notification. A lot of times they're going to let you select between the two. And when they do that, just select both. Very, very important. When you see any, if you have PayPal, monitor your PayPal for unauthorized charges. Select for notifications. You should get. I don't think PayPal. I think they automatically give you notifications. I don't think you can deselect notifications, but monitor your PayPal activity. If you have these Cash App and different programs, be careful with it. Monitor that to be sure that nothing fraudulently has happened with respect to that account. Some people have experienced identity fraud with respect to that. So whatever level of protection and password safeguards, be very careful in using that, because some kind of way people can hack into that. So keep an eye on all of those things regularly. So everything that allows you to do notifications, use it. Keep in mind, if you have a good identity thief, they may go in and take off the notifications or change them. So you just want to be very vigilant and looking at all of these things, where you can be compromised: credit cards, bank accounts, cash transfer apps. You just want to monitor those things regularly. Just like you check your car door every day or your front door, make sure it's locked. It's really important that you check, your financial, systems and accounts to make sure that they're all locked up. Okay. And again, worst case scenario, insure those things with these different products that can help restore you financially if you're compromised. Again, I'm going to set you all up with the things you need to demand compensation when you are violated, and also to how to sue if necessary to get compensation for when you're violated. Because again, the whole argument is once you're violated, information is out there. You can't go around changing your social security number. You certainly can't change your date of birth. You can't change your name easily. So the thing is, they're going to say, well, the information was breached, but no one used it yet. So I'm going to equip you on how to legally and effectively deal with that, because the question is, it hasn't been used yet, but you're constantly going to have to spend money and monitor to make sure that you're not compromised in the future. And as soon as you take your guard down, boom, it can happen to you. So you're going to have to be compensated for that over time. All right. So any other questions? Because I am going to jump off and I'm going to jump onto my private Zoom, my credit mastery training. So if anyone wants to join that training, you should go ahead and use that link to do that, because that's going to be private, and we're going to go over some things one-on-one there. So if you don't have any more questions, we're going to jump into that. All right, and we have a few people pre-enrolling into the data breach program. We appreciate that. All right. So, any other questions? I want to thank y'all for joining, and hopefully you got some tips. If you're joining late on the replay, be sure to jump in the comments section. Let me know if you have any questions, if you got some value out of this information. The link to join my Instagram should be in the comment section. Definitely join that. I'm going to alternate between here and Instagram, giving you some valuable information. So want to thank you all for joining, and everybody have a good night. And the Credit Mastery students will be jumping over to the Zoom. We're going to start a little early, okay? Have a good night.